Hey everybody, welcome back to Run and Gun. I'm JT, and I recently did a photo shoot at an arcade. I worked with a really awesome model from Syracuse, and I'm super proud of these images. They're by far the best photos I've taken so far in 2019. And don't worry, next week I'm gonna have a video of all the behind the scenes footage from this shoot. It's gonna take me a little bit to edit, but that's gonna be awesome, and I'm dropping that next weekend, so be sure to look out for that video. Once it's uploaded, I'll have it linked in the description. So now that I'm done editing these photos, I really wanna upload them to Instagram, and I wanna keep the highest quality possible. I've heard a lot of people asking, how do I upload to Instagram for the highest quality, because my photos are showing up either not sharp or kind of blurry. So in this video, I'm gonna give you guys 3 tips for sharper photos on Instagram, and be sure to stick around for that third one because it's probably the most important. So let's roll that intro and get right into it. All right, so we are here in Photoshop. This is one of the portraits I took during that arcade shoot, and I'm about to post it on Instagram. So one of the first tips towards a sharper photo on Instagram is kind of obvious. It's to make sure your photo is actually in focus. So I'm gonna zoom in here to 100%. One of the biggest tips I can give you for portrait photography is to remember that if your eyes are out of focus, the whole portrait is out of focus. The eyes are the first thing that anyone looking at your portrait is going to go to, provided that you took the portrait properly with proper composition rules and your subject is the center of attention in the photo. If your eyes are out of focus, your portrait's out of focus. And of course, it's not going to look good on Instagram, because even if you scale it down, a scaled down blurry photo is still a blurry photo. So this particular photo is in focus, even though I shot it at 1.4. The depth of field you can see here is razor thin. It falls off at the nose and the chin, and back here towards the hair just completely softly falls out of focus and looks great, but the eyes are sharp. So number one thing for sharp photos on Instagram is to make sure that your image is actually sharp. So my second tip for sharper Instagram photos is to sharpen your photos. So when shooting digital, I always sharpen my images before exporting, and one of the best ways to do that is to use the Unsharp mask. So I'll go to Filter, Sharpen, and open up the Unsharp mask. And again, I usually use the eyes to gauge the sharpness. And I have a tutorial on the Unsharp mask. I'll link that up in the video and in the description. And I usually use a radius somewhere between 0.8 and 1, maybe 1.1, 1.2. And then I go in and I play with the amount of sharpening. 80-ish looks good. There is a little bit of noise coming up in some of the flatter areas, so I will turn up the threshold a bit and turn the preview on and off. Turn the threshold down a little bit. All right, that looks nice and sharp. Hit OK, wait for it to load. That is a very sharp portrait, and even scaled down looks extremely sharp. So always sharpen your images a touch before you go ahead and upload to Instagram. So my last tip for sharp Instagram photos, and this is probably the most important, so thank you for sticking around, is to resize your image to upload. Now, when you're uploading to Instagram, for some reason, Instagram doesn't like 2x3 photos. So the largest photo in portrait orientation that I can upload is going to be a 4x5, which sadly, in this case means I'm gonna be losing a lot of the top and a lot of the bottom of this image. So in this case, I'm going to crop by a 4x5. I'm gonna put the eyes here right on the rule of thirds, and that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna crop this image. So now that the image is cropped, it's time to resize for Instagram. Now, not too long ago, Instagram changed its maximum upload size from, I believe, 640 to 1080 to support Retina displays. So that means the widest width I can upload my photo at is 1080 pixels. So the width here on the bottom is going to be 1080 pixels for maximum clarity and resolution. You always want to upload your photo at the largest size possible, so Instagram isn't trying to scale it up or scale it down, and that's where you start losing quality, because Instagram is scaling your photo and compressing it. So let's talk about resolution a little bit. Let's say I wanted to make this photo a 1x1 square. I could make a preset document that is, again, 1080 pixels in the width, and 1x1 would mean 1080 pixels in height. In the case of my portrait, I want to have a 4x5 document, which would be, again, 1080 in the width, and the height would be 1350 pixels. Now, Instagram's maximum height is 1350 pixels because, again, Instagram limits us to a 4x5 crop. Now, let's say I wanted to upload more of a wider panoramic frame. I could choose 1080 on the width and 566 on the height. Now, 566 is the minimum height that Instagram will allow you to upload. And that aspect ratio is about 2:1, or the actual number is 1.9:1. Instagram will end up resizing your photo if you do a 2:1, and it won't be quite as sharp. So remember, always keep your width at 1080, that never changes for optimum quality, and keep your height between 566 and 1350 so that Instagram is not scaling your photo and compressing it. So let's go back to our image and make this the right size. So I'm going to go to image, go to image size, and we make sure that we have our little lock here so that when we change our width, it also changes the height. So remember, we want a width of 1080, and at 4x5, you can see it automatically changes our height to the maximum of 1350. I'm going to click OK and wait for this to resize. And then when I zoom in here, now I have an image that's ready to go for Instagram. The eyes are nice and sharp because the image was in focus. I use that Unsharp mask to add a little bit more detail and maintain all of the detail in the digital image that I saw when I was shooting, and then resize it to a scale that Instagram actually likes. So that is it for this video. Those are 3 tips to maximize sharpness on Instagram so you have a very sharp gallery because you guys spent all that time making the photo. Make sure you're displaying your photos at the optimum quality. So that's all for this video. I will see you guys next weekend when I drop that behind the scenes arcade shoot video. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe so you can see all of my videos every weekend, and drop me a comment down below if this video helped you out on Instagram. So until then, as I always say, get out and go shoot.